Have any of you been on the carousels here in town? Maybe in particular the kids. If you're here and you've been on some of the carousels, put your hand up. Let me know. Carousels are a lot of fun. They were created because there was a guy. Um, I don't know if it was Endicott or if it was Johnson. If you go to the carousels, you'll see the plaque. It says, he wanted people to have the fun and joy of riding the carousels. So riding on the carousels is a whole lot of fun. It was Johnson. Thank you, Jenny. Um, I have a song. I have a song and I have a story. And so the song is about carousels. One of the things that people will do is they'll look at what it's like to be on the carousel and they'll think about how that's kind of like what life is like. You're riding on the carousel and you go round and round and round, and each time you go around it's the same thing each point as you get back to it. And so Joni Mitchell has this song where she says, and the seasons, they go round and round. I'm going to sing this song in a little bit. And so you can think about what she's saying with this song. And the painted ponies, they go up and down. And she says, we're captive on this carousel. We just keep going around. We just keep having our life that we're living. Um, this experience that we've been through on this turn around the carousel has been a little bit different, hasn't it? It's been a little unusual on our painted pony going up and down on this carousel this year. We've had spring and then summer and winter, fall and winter, and back into spring. And this spring is different from last spring with this pandemic and with the politics and with all kinds of stuff going on. It's been a very different year for us. Um, there's a story, an old Zen story of a man who sees a horse galloping really fast, and there's somebody on top of that horse. And as that galloping horse whizzes past, he shouts out, "Hey, where are you going?" And the man on top of the horse shouts back, "I don't know, ask the horse." So where are you going? Round and round in a circle game, like Joni Mitchell talks about? Maybe, maybe what we're doing is less a circle and more a spiral where it keeps going around and around, and each time around, it's a little bit different. And maybe it's very different, but that's because it's a spiral. And each time around, something a little bit different happens to you and happens around you. So where are you going? You're becoming you. You're already you. When you're a kid, people are like, "Hey, what are you going to be when you grow up?" Like I'm already being me when I'm 5 years old. I'm already being me when I'm 25 years old. But each time you go around the spiral rather than the circle, you get a little bit more experience and you become more you. Not that you stopped being you or weren't yet you at any one point along this way, but each time around that circle, you become a little more you. And so we are becoming, always becoming. I have always loved that little song by Joni Mitchell. Um, we would sing it at Unirondack when I was a kid going to summer camps. Um, Everybody wanted to know how to play the chords to that song, and invariably there would be several of us with guitars to be able to play along. And later, when I was a young adult, I would sing that song. It was part of the rotation of bedtime songs that my wife and I would sing to our children as they were little at bedtime. I remember somebody saying to me as a young adult how sad they were that they fell off the song at the end. They remember being a child uh, coming out to wonder, and they remember being 10 and 16 and then 20. But after 20, there's nothing, the song doesn't tell you anymore. And when you're 25 and when you're 30, you're still going around the carousel and things are still happening and you're still becoming you. And there's still growth that occurs. Here I am 50 and my dreams are still coming true, and I'm still figuring out cartwheels and car wheels and ice skating and fireflies. It's always with us. We're always becoming. There's a story, though, that I'll offer that takes us in a slightly different direction. This story is widely attributed to a multitude of famous sculptors, which are probably all not true, in which the artist claims that the work of sculpting is very simple. One must simply take a big block of marble and chip away at the pieces that you don't need. That in one version, Michelangelo says, I just I chisel away the parts that aren't David. Or Ruskin says, I chisel away the pieces that are not the angel. In our current society, it is popular to think about our spiritual growth as a process of adding or building or creating something out of ourselves. It's in a similar manner, this art of becoming is seen as an art of allowing the seed within us to sprout and for us to grow into the fullness of our best selves. We imagine ourselves perhaps expanding, growing in our becoming. But what if the work is not just to learn to be better, but to unlearn the parts that keep getting in the way? Most Unitarian Universalist adults have a spiritual journey filled with false starts, with sudden changes, with unnourished stretches of time. Not all of us. I often share my own journey as an example of someone who grew up Unitarian Universalist, has always had this belief system that I have now, and there's always been this room for me to grow. And it counters that message that all of us UUs have left some other religion to find this one. And it remains true that a large number of us did find this tradition after a long time of searching. We do not come into this day blank and ready. We all have experiences from our travels that have left us with spiritual or emotional wounds and defensive reactions. So we might wonder together about the work of becoming our best selves. We might notice that part of that work, perhaps a significant part, is to unbecome, to disentangle, to shed some of the old bonds and habits and patterns. I remember one of the patterns that I had to unlearn as a young husband and father when I was in my 20s. I had to stop using sarcasm as a normal way to communicate. Sarcasm was like a second language to me as a teenager. I was still unlearning that one in seminary. Albert Schweitzer wrote, "The work, the path of awakening is not about becoming who you are. Rather, it is about unbecoming who you are not." So that big block of wood, and you chisel away the pieces that don't need to be there. Sometimes our spiritual work is to unravel and untangle, to pull out the threads of a pattern that no longer serves. Sometimes this is about walking away, ending something, stepping back and letting go. What have you discovered to be a habit or a pattern that you've needed to unlearn or to unravel? While it is good for us to add healthy spiritual practices to our lives, it is also valuable to recognize what we need to let go, what we can surrender, unbecome from the past that no longer serves. I love the little story of a traveler who is at the top of a hill in his travels, and he discovers an old monastic man watching people working on a building a short way off, and the traveler stops. And during their conversation, he learns that this old monastic man is the abbot, and that building is their abbey, and that the workers are the other monks. And the traveler sighs appreciatively and says, "It is good to see a new abbey going up." To which the old abbot responds, "My monks are not building the abbey, they are taking it down." Shocked, the traveler asks, "Whatever for?" And the abbot says, "Because it obstructs our view of the sunrise." Unbecoming, releasing the pieces that are no longer you so as to make room, to allow space for the fuller unfolding of your best self in the days still to come. And here is the best part. We're always doing this. We're never done. We don't ever fall off the end of the song. Each cycle around the carousel is just another cycle around the carousel. We are always working in our garden, planting a seed sometimes, pulling the weeds out other times, becoming and unbecoming. These painted ponies, they just go up and down, and we go round and round. And that man calls out as the horse gallops past, "Where are you going?" And the man on the horse replies, "I don't know, ask the horse." Where are you going? Who are you becoming? You already are you, and you are becoming more you as you either add to or release the pieces that you need or no longer need anymore. And we're never done. In a world without end, may it be so.